Yes, you may.
All right, thanks. My name is Alan Gasos, and my topic is McDonald's, the fast food giant. I'll start you guys off with a story. 6 months ago, a customer walked into McDonald's in New York City and purchased a Happy Meal, which contained a hamburger, fries, and a small soft drink. Before the customer ate the meal, she wanted to conduct an experiment on the meal. She purchased at McDonald's. She wanted to see how long it takes for McDonald's food products to decompose. To this day, that same hamburger and fries look exactly the same. My proposition, or main claim, is that McDonald's has a negative effect on Americans' diet. I'll support the proposition with 3 secondary claims. My first secondary claim is that McDonald's negatively affects the health of Americans due to the nutrition value in the food. Obesity is increasing in America by 60%. All Americans are either overweight or obese. And it would also have to take 7 hours straight to burn off a supersized Coke, fry, and a Big Mac. Both of these facts are stated from the film Supersize. Another thing is that Americans have a greater chance of acquiring life-threatening diseases. McDonald's promotes their food as nutritious, but the reality is that it's junk food, high in fat, sugar, and salt, and low in fiber and vitamins. A diet of this type is linked with a greater risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and other diseases. Their food also contains many chemical additives, some of which may cause ill health and hyperactivity in children. Don't forget too that meat is the cause of the majority of the food poisoning incidents. In 1991, McDonald's were responsible for an outbreak of food poisoning in the United Kingdom, in which people suffered serious kidney failure. With modern intensive farming methods, other diseases linked to chemical residues and unnatural practices. Children also have a greater risk of gaining health problems. A study by the University of California at Berkeley in the year 2009 determined that, for children at least, easy access to food outlets increased the risk of obesity. A fast food restaurant within a tenth of a mile of a school increased the risk of obesity in 9th graders by 5.2%. The study suggests that zoning laws restricting fast food outlets within a set distance of schools couldn't combat child obesity in America. My second secondary claim, McDonald's uses advertisements to lure viewers to unhealthy eating habits. First, that toys are used as a marketing technique to use children to desire fast food. From CSPI, which is also known as Center for Science in the Public Interest, suggests that McDonald's marketing to children is predatory and wrong, because young children are not developmentally advanced enough to resist the marketing. McDonald's marketing has the effect of conscripting America's children into an unpaid drone army of word-of-mouth marketers, causing them to pester their parents and bring them to McDonald's. Appealing images in the commercials to catch viewers' attention to purchase fast food as well. Fast food advertising and junk food advertising have a host of techniques at their disposal. Marketing includes television, radio, comic books, and magazines. Fast food company logos appear on toys, in movies and clothing, and in video games. It's difficult, perhaps impossible, to go an entire day in America without seeing a fast food logo, restaurant, advertisement, or image of someone eating junk food. My third secondary claim, and final one, is that McDonald's causes an addiction to an unhealthy way of life. The unhealthy nutrients in the food causes Americans to consume more every day. By BBC News, they found that rats fed a diet containing 25% sugar are thrown into a state of anxiety when the sugar is removed. So the same goes pretty much as humans. And B, that Americans spend more money every year on fast food than higher education. In 1972, we spent $3 billion a year on fast food. Today, we spend more than $100 billion. In conclusion, there has been some changes in McDonald's selling their food, such as they took out the supersized products, the drink and the fries, and that McDonald's will have a negative effect on American diet until we change. Thank you.
Right. Well, the claim is identified very clearly. You said that there are going to be a series of secondary claims, but you don't really preview them. You start right on that first one. I think we need a little bit more controversy, on the a little bit more background on what's involved here and what the controversies are. You've got some statistics that you present near the end of the speech about the amount of spending that we had on fast foods back in, I think it was 1970 as compared to today. That seems like it's something that would belong at the front end of the argument to demonstrate that there's a reason to be paying attention to this argument. On your first point, it sounded like you had 2 points and then they got grouped together, and then there was a second point. So I was a little bit confused in following the organizational structure. You had a couple of good examples that you talked about, and some research that talks about these kinds of things. I'm not sure about the strength of the one study that talked about the proximity of students to, or schools to, the fast food franchises and the impact that there is there. The link on that seems a little thin. It would be helpful if you had some additional data that confirmed that from other research. Background information is okay. I don't think there's a lot of dispute that some of the food, that people are getting obese or that they consume large amounts of fast foods. That's probably true. Although you're pretty specific to McDonald's, and I'm not sure that the evidence that you have always specifies that particular franchise. The one that does is the example of the food poisoning that took place in Great Britain being connected to the McDonald's issue. Then there's some other arguments about the nature of eating fast food and it's addictive behavior and its predatory stuff. I thought you did a little bit on that. When people consume it, that they want to have that. The rat study, though, by itself, I think is a little inadequate to prove that point. On the marketing stuff, you've got some dramatic claims there, but that's all you've got are dramatic claims. I didn't hear any evidence that showed that the marketing techniques are having a success or that they're doing anything more than branding people as opposed to inducing people to consume the foods. So I think that's a little bit problematic. At the end of the speech, you've got some information about changes that McDonald's made on their supersizing, and I'm not sure how that adds to your argument. It gives it a little bit more context. Maybe there might be something about the controversy. Again, I think that's something that might have been front-loaded to make it a little clearer why there's a dispute on this issue. Thank you.